All right, so this comment was left under a video where I was talking about why, even though I've talked about these topics in the past, I don't tend to make content focusing on toxic femininity, right? And the comment says, I think the other thing, they consider toxic femininity as misandry. They fail to realize that not only is misandry a predictable, rational, and valid response to misogyny, but misandry doesn't oppress, assault, rape, or unalive men. Obviously, we can't say the same about misogyny. So let's talk about it. Okay, so first off, is misandry a reasonable or rational response to misogyny? Yeah, kind of. But let's shelve that real quick. We'll come back to that, okay? When we're talking about toxic masculinity, what we're talking about are toxic traits that we attribute to masculinity, right? Things that are not good, physically, mentally, emotionally toxic, that we attribute to masculinity. We say, oh, these are masculine traits, but they're really just not good. Or even if the trait itself is without context considered good, attributing it to masculinity and denying somebody masculinity if they don't have that quality or trait, that also being not good. So when I'm talking about toxic masculinity, that's what I'm talking about. So when people refer to toxic femininity, I'm talking about those same things, but on the flip side. Denying somebody's femininity if they don't have some arbitrary traits that you attribute to femininity. And as I said in a previous video, most of those traits are just things that men want women to be or do. However, most of the time when men are referring to toxic femininity, that's not even what they're talking about. They're talking about when women are mean to men or when women expect things from men. Like when women expect a man to pay for food or protect them and things like that. Or when they say mean things about men, that's what they're usually talking about. Which I find really interesting because like 99% of those things that women expect men to do came from men saying that men are expected to do these things. Men are expected to pay for things. Men are expected to be protectors. Men are expected to suffer on behalf of their partners. Stuff like that. Men are expected to be in charge and the leaders. Even if they're not good at these things or don't want to do these things, these are just expectations that men have placed on other men for centuries. Patriarchy. We're talking about patriarchy right now. The men are leaders, men in charge, blah, blah, blah. Men are supposed to do this, that, and the third. Comes from patriarchy. Does that make sense? So those aren't even examples of toxic femininity. Those don't have anything to do with being feminine at all. Those are examples of gender roles that were established by patriarchy and maintained by men. Idea that a man is supposed to pay for everything, men are the ones keeping that idea in rotation. There are so many women who are down to buy a man a drink or take a man out on a date, but because of this social structure, they can't or they're less inclined to because they don't want to mess up his ego or some shit like that. They don't want to upset the gender norms because dudes be getting mad about that shit. When women don't follow social gender norms, dudes be getting actually upset about the shit. It's weird. Now let's talk about what men are actually usually talking about when they say toxic femininity. What they're usually talking about is what they perceive to be misandry. Which, if misandry is supposed to be the inverse of misogyny, then on a systemic level, we've never actually experienced misandry at all. Like, it's not even close. Misogyny is biblical. Misogyny's been around for thousands of years. Women, biblically, are considered unclean and full of sin. Men not wanting women to talk or having any control or power in any capacity has been a thing for thousands of years. Not for anything that a woman has done, but purely because they are a woman. Women being stoned to death, women being given away as gifts or property, women being unalive, women being assaulted. Thousands of years where it was predominantly just that, and women couldn't do shit about it. There is no equivalent. Even if women try, they wouldn't be able to catch up to the amount of violence that they've experienced. They're in no position to dole out the same systemic oppression that they've experienced. Like, they can't make any laws controlling men's reproductive systems. They can't do it because not enough women hold enough power because we are in a patriarchy. So given that context, given that historic context, given that current context, given the current state of the systems in our society, women popping up who hate men, that's gonna how could that not happen? How could it not happen? Gotta think about it. Misogyny is men hating women, right? And why do they hate women? Because they're women. They see women as lesser than, weaker, deceitful, evil, just bad because they're women. They hate women because they're women. Now, what is misandry? Women hating men. Now, why do the women hate men? Because the men hate women. That's why. Misandry's a direct result of these experiences, of this treatment. How could this not happen? You're calling a woman a bitch because she decided to show some extra thigh today, and then she tells you to go fuck yourself. That's called cause and effect. She would not feel that way about you if you weren't actively being an asshole. Women wouldn't be hating men if men weren't being assholes. It's cause and effect. So rather than making content telling women how they should or shouldn't respond to actual oppression, I make content telling men how to not be assholes. Because it's better to fix the root problem than try to fix the symptoms caused by that root problem. That's how I feel about it. You can let me know how you feel in the comments. But I appreciate you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.